In the beginning of this year, I did a pretty cool trip where I hitchhiked across the Atlantic. I crewed on 2 totally different boats, met awesome people, and really had quite an amazing journey. In this first part, I joined Hans, a really unique sailor whom I met online on a sailing platform. My adventure starts in the south of Portugal, in a fisherman's town called Olhão. After taking a ferry and looking for the boat on a deserted beach in the middle of the night,
Alrighty, we're here. Now where's the boat?
I find myself waking up the next day, here. This is Untitled, a 77-foot hand-built catamaran made from nothing but hardwood. With this boat and its amazing crew, I'd soon be setting off on my first open ocean sailing trip. We still had to wait a couple of days for the winds to be right. So we spent our time exploring the island and gathering fresh seafood like cuttlefish, clams and mussels.
The old shipwreck and getting some fresh mussels for tonight. Ew.
Aside from enjoying delicious food, it was also just a great time to get to know the boat and the rest of the crew.
So, this is where we sleep. So you see all my stuff laying on my bunk right now. We still have to kind of get organized. You see some surfboards in the back there as well, some more bunks, 2 bunks. You can get your stuff down here. 2 more bunks over there, and this is basically our living room. Some people drying their stuff behind there. Also a whole rack of books.
I think I was pretty damn lucky with the crew I had. Christine and Brandon, a fun and inspiring couple that was on a mission to go around the globe without leaving the face of the earth. Toby, a calm and gentle German guy who was always up for a good chat. Laure, a French girl, pretty crazy, but also very kind. She ended up staying in Morocco and renting an apartment over there. Junior, this guy was definitely my cabron of the trip. He's a Dutch guy, but he grew up in Spain. I had some crazy times with this dude. And then of course Hans, our captain. This is one of the most unique people I've ever met in my life, but I'll tell you more about him as we go along. Oh yeah, and Pok Pok. Yes, we had a pet chicken aboard, and no, she was not meant for eating. So after a week of waiting with good food and great people, it was time to head off.
Nice little sunset, little barbecue going on, and we are ready to leave.
I don't have any device.
Set sail, and it's still beautiful. Now we're still in calmer waters because we're kind of getting out of Olhão, which is a bunch of islands next to each other with a couple of channels, but once we get out of the channel we get into open ocean and there will be a lot of wind today. So now it's still nice and calm, just sweet sailing as you can see, but I'm actually a little bit nervous even just to see how heavy the waves are going to be once we get out there. It is beautiful though. I hope the sun will shine the whole day and then it should be just a big blast, just a lot of fun. Well, let's see what happens.
And then things all went downhill. For the next 2 days, I got dead seasick. I wasn't able to eat or drink anything, and and I threw up well over 20 times. Because of the severe dehydration, things start to get trippy and you lose all sense of reality. It's really one of the worst things I've ever experienced, and I wouldn't wish it on anybody. On the third morning I finally pulled through though, just in time to spot some dolphins.
So let me show you what it looks like, but everywhere where you look around you, you don't see any land anymore. So this is really what it's like to be in the middle of the ocean.
Day 3 was a bit of a gloomy and relaxed day, but on day 4 we finally got hit by the sun. Java truly is a unique boat. Hans built it himself in only a couple of months in Gambia, together with some friends and locals. The boat is almost completely made out of hardwood. The deck, the rudders, the boom, which is actually a couple of beams tied together, and the masts, which is apparently an old French telephone pole, believe it or not. There's also a lot of space in the hulls, and Hans definitely filled it up with good stuff. Surfboards, spear guns, fishing equipment, working tools, and lots of little treasures that Hans collected on his voyages. We also had a cozy kitchen and a dining table, which was also used for navigation, by the way. All we navigated with were GPS coordinates, a chart, and a really cool compass. Hans also handed me an awesome book, The Barefoot Navigator. It taught me how to navigate by the sun and the stars, with some simple tools like an astrolabe, just like ancient cultures did. This is without a doubt one of the coolest things I've ever learned in my life. On our final evening, we gathered for a delicious meal and a nice sunset, ready to arrive in Morocco. Brendan also did an extra effort to catch some fish, because we hadn't been too lucky on that one.
You will see 50 tuna jumping out of this.
I was also on first watch, which gave me some time to reflect on the first days that I've had, and I can say it hadn't been too bad.
Good morning. We have made it to Morocco. So we're here right in Essaouira. We just woke up about an hour ago. Had some fresh toasts and eggs. I'm really stoked to be back at land for a while. I have a couple of days here in Morocco. Have a bit of good food, explore the city. We will also go surfing, maybe do a bit of spearfishing, and just really enjoy and then head off for the Canaries. So I am back and stoked. Let's do this.
Our stay in Essaouira was awesome. It's just such a unique little coastal town. Cozy streets, cool markets, some delicious Moroccan food, and some rather unique toilets as well. We also found this gem of a rooftop terrace. We visited this place like daily. I mean, just look at this stuff. It was also pretty cool to be really living in the harbor. Every time you wanted to get home, you had to jump in a little dinghy and row 400 meters back to the boat. We also made a little surf trip to Imsouane, one of the best right-hand point breaks in whole Morocco. The best trip we did though was the one to Imlil, which is in the Atlas mountain range. We stayed at this cozy little hotel in the middle of the mountains. Only getting there was a bit of a challenge sometimes. The view was a bit shit, but luckily I had some books with me. You know, you gotta keep yourself entertained. Needless to say, Morocco had been great, but it was time to set off for the Canary Islands. We had some great wind on the first day. We actually already made 3/4 of the way towards our destination. Junior also had some fun with a little camera takeover.
And here we have the sailing duo doing its utter best not to jibe. Pull, pull, he says. Pull he shall.
Oh yeah, we also accidentally fished a bird. Yeah, you heard me correctly, we fished a bird. It had probably seen one of our lures, dived for it, and got hooked on the line. Luckily, we were able to safely remove the hook from this poor little guy. And after recovering for a bit, he flew off like nothing had happened.
So we are just having a beautiful sunset over here. A couple of nice waves, we got the fishing lines out, the guys are cracking a beer, and it's been an awesome day of sailing. I didn't get seasick whatsoever, felt a little sick when we got on the boat, had a little nap, and I'm just perfectly fine. And even more than fine, like I'm enjoying this like crazy. Sun is just setting beautifully over here, and we're just gonna have a sweet trip. Already had some good food. What else? Life's good, and it's nice to be back on the ocean, not feeling sick, just really enjoying the waves, the power, the sun, and with good people, beautiful boats, and really, life's good. That's what it is. Life is good. Let's enjoy it some more.
The next day we got hit by a complete flat spell. We got no wind whatsoever and we're basically just stuck in the middle of the sea. It was really interesting to feel completely dependent on the forces of nature. As long as there was no wind, we weren't going anywhere. We ended up drifting around the same spot for 2 full days. We had some cool company though. Apparently we had been drifting around a seamount, which was attracting a lot of fish and dolphins. We spent the rest of our time relaxing, playing games, reading books, and of course, enjoying the beautiful view. On the 4th day, we finally got some wind in our sails, and we were able to make some way towards our destination. Hans told us that we weren't going fast enough though, and we were probably going to get hit by a storm the next day.
We're having a little storm over here. Wind is going about 25 knots, which is only a small storm, but big fun actually. Just kind of show you what the boat looks like. We're rocking quite a lot. See the sails flapping. We got the foresails. The foresails over here are down. We've got the mainsail over there. And we've got Hans just laughing and coming up. Now we've got a couple of waves. And that's actually the front right there. That's where the storm should be laying down a little bit. And then we're gonna make a tack and head straight to the Canaries, which are right over there. Hope you hear something. A lot of wind over here. So we actually have a big part of the sail down. It's sort of like reefing the sail, And we're doing this because there's so much wind that if we put up this whole sail, it would actually be dangerous. It would flap around with too much power. We would be going too fast. This is where I was staying for the last couple of hours at the final watch. So while it was still dark as well, I was just sleeping there, checking for boats now and then, but mainly staying dry in the doghouse over there. Set coming in. Gotta get wet. Woo!
The storm got too strong in the end, and we had to take down all of the sails. We were once again stuck for a full 24 hours, but this time because there was too much wind. I wish I had taken a bit more footage of the storm. I really have to say those 24 hours were pretty damn rough.
We're sailing again, finally.
On our final day, the wind was perfect though, and we smoothly sailed our last stretch towards the Canaries. Dolphins aside, I have to say, it was good to see some land after 5 days. And at last, all the way at the end of the trip, we were able to catch some tuna. I think it's really amazing how you can travel with your little home, but still stay at places like this. So we had finally arrived in La Graciosa. A trip that was only supposed to take 2 days took us 5 full days. We had some good fun on our final day though. We went spearfishing, surfing in a secret spot, and we also finally prepared the tuna we caught on the previous day. I decided to prepare some sushi for our last supper, and it was a perfect meal to round up this part of my adventure. This trip impacted me in so many ways, I don't even think I was aware of it back then. The crew, the boats, the real sense of adventure, it all felt like a dream came true. Looking back on all this footage, I remember asking Hans once how he had created such an awesome lifestyle for himself. He just smiled back and said, "Just be brave, man, and do it." In the second part of my adventure, I head off to Gran Canaria, where I'm able to hitch a ride across the Atlantic on the $6 million beast of a catamaran. And that all completely for free. Alrighty, see you there.